Day 9 of the August 98 10-day retreat in Springwater. An ever-changing retreat. The weather, dark this morning, yet a little light yellow on the bottom of the dark in the horizon. Then that sudden shower, as quickly gone as it came. Wind starting, blowing furiously. Temperature going down. And a while later, the clouds opening up, sun peeking through, shining on everything. No permanence in weather. No permanence in this life of ours, constantly changing. Constantly changing moods and states of mind aren't there. So difficult to learn that they too come and go when one is in the thicket of fear or depression, despair. Thought thinks this is going to last forever. So to be very careful not to believe thoughts about ourselves. They are deceptive and can for a while fixate things which, without thoughts, change so lightly and easily. This is the true art of living, letting things come and go without transforming a momentary thing into an idea that is clung to, elaborated, believed to be everlasting. Can we get wise to this movement of the mind and not fall for it? Actually, living through all of this changing inside, outside, is learning when there's awareness and looking and wondering, listening. There's learning about this leading to that, this coming and going. And at times, at a moment of getting stuck, thinking this is going to be forever, there may be some memory that this is not true. At least the memory, if there's presence right now, then it isn't true. Then it's so clear because it's already changed with the presence of awareing. Awareing this present anger is different from wallowing in it. Non-spaciously encapsulated in it. And then wondering, stopping, wondering and awareing is already the change. It's not the same thing anymore. Because the tendency from millennia-old habit is to stay with the seeming object of awareness, my depression, my greed or anger, the cold weather or the heat. You fill it in. I can't do all of that. The long habit is to get glued to that, and the art of living is to stay with the awareness, because that is always there. As we stop and look and listen inwardly, outwardly. Awareness showing the things the way they are, not the way we think and have believed they are. It may come as a shock when this happens the first time. Seeing a tree, a flower, a knee for what it is, not knowing it, comes as a shock to a mind so used to live and travel and negotiate in the known. The ideas, the comforting ideas about ourselves. And yet it's also freeing. Seeing things the way they are, and they are not things. What are they? Blowing leaves, creaking tree trunks, bending grass, and changing moods. Before we grasp it, before we can get a hold of it, it has already changed. Unless we dwell in thinking. Thinking can have quite a lasting nature. We put it down in books and volumes and on the computer. You can always read it again, and it seems to remain the same. The words. But life is not words, it's not concepts. It's an ever-changing whole. All hanging together inseparably. Somebody asked that question, why do you say that the ego or the self, the me, is an illusion or a delusion? Why do you say that? Let's go into that. It feels so real, doesn't it? Me, this is my body, my mind, my thoughts, my superiority or inferiority, changing all the time from one extreme to the other. My sufficiency, my insufficiency, but it's all mine. This is how we think and talk. I'm special. Even special in my deficiencies. Nobody is as deficient as I am. This clinging for dear life, it seems, to the ideas we have about ourselves. Because that's where we've grown up in. That's where we feel strangely at home. I'm separate from you. People say, well, of course I'm separate from you, because if I prick my thigh, you don't feel it. You don't see what I see. Of course, I'm facing a different direction. If you sat here, maybe you would see similarly. Same view. Although, seeing it differently depends how we look. If we're afraid of things or want to see certain things, or consumed with thoughts, we obviously don't see the same thing. And when the seeing is clear, not distorted by worries or desires or fears, prejudices, then there's one seeing. Even if I'm short-sighted and you're long-sighted, far-sighted. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what is seen. What matters is pure seeing. Free from this construct of me and myness, which comes to us naturally. We're born into it. Maybe it's already in the DNA or genes. Who knows? This feeling separate from each other. Although for the baby, I'm sure it's not true if one has watched babies. But it grows on us, this idea of being separate due to this enormous influence of thinking, picturing, storying about ourselves and the world, and living in the stories of me separate from you. And my qualities are my merit or my dismerit. It's like these leaves that are trembling on the trees right now. Millions of leaves on one tree. I don't know how many there are. This big oak tree down there, maybe several millions. Leaves trembling. What if each leaf had a mini leaf brain? And in that leaf brain, a mini memory. Would it say, I am different from all the other leaves? It could say that because I'm quite sure not two leaves are precisely the same. Just as no two human beings are precisely identical, not even identical twins, are really identical. So here, each leaf thinking it is separate and believing that. One is a little bit greener than the other, one a little bit nicer shaped than the other. One has sort of moth-eaten holes, nicks out of it. The other is more perfect for the time being. Tomorrow it may be eaten up or eaten into. Some leaves break off and tumble to the ground when they're still green. Some of them turn into beautiful colors, but each one different. Have you ever seen two colors the same in two leaves? And then eventually most of them drop off, although there are some that hang on, shriveled up, and still hanging on. And if you walk through the woods in the wintertime, some of them hang on beautifully, not shriveled up, sort of translucent, yellow-orange. It's a light in the winter woods, these leaves that hung on for a long time. A delight to the eyes. And then, where have they gone in spring when the buds come out? Some or other, they're not on the branches anymore. And now you walk through them, dried or muddy, soggy, losing color. All these leaves on one tree. Same tree trunk for all of them, same root system, same feeding system of this amazing phenomenon, how trees suck up the water and distribute it throughout the branches to the outermost leaf. Same sunshine, same rain, same soil. Does this analogy hold for us? Same sunshine, same rain. maybe a little bit of different soil. One was born one place, another in another place. We're all born of parents. Mother's egg, father's sperm. Getting together. Tiny. At first we were microscopically tiny. Was it our doing that we grew and grew and grew, going through all kinds of evolutionary stages as we read and see in pictures or movies? Amazing. Who's doing it? And seeing the light of day during birth. All of us in different ways, some more painful, some more easy. Learning about ourselves from the others and from own experiences. Others telling us what we are and how good we are or how bad we are. How intelligent or dumb, capable or incapable. We hear all of this and absorb it. We get praised and blamed, compared to others. And this story, idea about ourselves grows and develops into a real firm belief that this is what I am. This story, this body, my body, my mind, always a little bit superior to the body we believe and have been made to believe for hundreds of years, thousands of years. The head happens to be on top. And there is this, what's higher and what's lower. But it's my head, my brain. Do you feel that way? Okay. Don't just listen and get involved in the story, but watch it, wonder about it. Maybe you've done it many times, and this is not the first talk of its kind either. But it's a fresh talk. It's a fresh looking, a fresh listening. So this growing, solidifying belief, this is me, this and all that's mine, my possessions, my friends, my beloved, my family. You add to it. My country, 'tis of thee. We laugh, but there's a strong, strong emotion running through every country, every group. Identification with it, or the opposite. Revolution, protest. I always used to think that the Germans were the most flag-conscious people ever, but the Americans are a close second, maybe just as flag-conscious. And in Sweden this spring, so much blue and yellow, it's beautiful. And I hadn't realized before, these are the colors of the flag. Maybe not quite as invested, but I wasn't long enough in Sweden. Switzerland, the white cross on the red flag. On a holiday, they swing that flag in a beautiful fashion in the mountains and twirl it so it stays open. And the emotions arise. This is mine, this is ours. And with this conviction, this is mine, this is ours, and it includes religions, ideas, books. What is the word? can't get it right now. With this conviction, with this belief, goes an incorporation, as it were, incorporating all these objects, mental as well as physical. Most of them are mental. What is it? A country. We talked about it in one group. What is Brazil right now? Most of it is mental. I know it exists. Of course, with Brazil, we may not be identified. What are we identified with? And watch it. Because the core is my personality, my views, what I think is right. Watch that. I think we could save ourselves a lot of interrelational problems. A lot of them. If this thing loosened, I know what is right. Because with this conviction we run into each other, because everybody thinks a little bit something else is right. And the whole organism serves the idea of mine with defensiveness, aggressiveness, and hurt. Amazing to watch and amazing to listen to people who tell you about their hurts, their difficulties with each other. Can we ask why? Ask it over and over and over again. Not just take it for granted and make a thing out of it, that I got hurt. Or that I have a right to my opinion, this is the right thing. Just light it up, loosen it up in quiet wondering and questioning. So, if somebody says, why do you say the ego is an illusion when it seems so real? Watch how you're defending, how you're hurting, how you're attacking, how you're withdrawing. Because you feel isolated, abandoned, or not understood. All out of this encrustation in our beliefs. Self-isolation, self-enclosure. And the enclosure, the wall, is thoughts and concepts with an eager to serve body, to provide the feelings for these convictions, the outrage. Whatever. Envy, jealousy, or lovingness. Loving what is mine, me and mine. This feeling for each other in a group brings out affection. Affection out of closeness. Finally, with someone who is a little bit like me. So, don't get an answer from Toni or from a book or from anyone to this question, but watch it. It's all there, out in the open to be observed. What is this ego, this sense of self? With all of its pleasures and all of its pains, the pains and sufferings usually outweighing the pleasures. That is a matter of observation. Because things usually do not go the way I would like it to go. Do they? And is there a different way of clinging to what one would like it to be? This hanging on to ideas about how things should be for me. Is there a different way of being? First we have to find out what is going on. The question, is there a different way of being, needs to come out of this direct experiencing of the prison-like enclosure of me and mine, with all of its emotions and sufferings and pleasures, which are never enough, never really satisfying. Why not? Wanting more, there is a certain satisfaction in it, and getting the more, it fades, falls flat. We want more again, something new, something exciting. And what furnishes the enthusiasm for the new, for going out after it, is the imagination. Getting with a new person, a new idea, the new teacher, the new country. And really being in touch. Maybe one keeps living in one's imagination, but the things or the people aren't the way we thought they were. They have their own dynamics and needs and fears and desires, which may not jibe with mine. So then there's disappointment, drainage. Out of that, does the question spark up? Is there a different way of living? And maybe at this point, when one comes into books or tapes, or people who go to certain places, like this place here, we seem to run into each other at the right time. Most of the time. And begin to sit down and wonder about what everything is. Not so heady anymore, but some directness. The headiness is not easily left behind, as people report, even in a 10-day retreat. It may seem that it was never left behind. Somebody said that this morning. It's day 8, person said, but it really is day 9, isn't it? Yes, it's day 9. And there's still thoughts. Yeah, one has imagined on day 9 there wouldn't be any anymore. So, to let go of the imagination and fantasy and be with what's there. In a new way. Not that there's a new experience of no thoughts that may happen or may not happen, but a new being with it, a new awareing, a new presence that lets things be as they are. Letting the wind blow, the leaves tremble. We usually don't find fault with that. But still, there's often ideas about it. We follow it in thought, do we? Conceptually? I don't know. Sometimes it happens for everyone that there's just the blowing, just the bending and trembling. Somebody reported that last night. There was just that. And then the thought arose, I am the wind. Or was it a question, am I the wind? No, it was, I am the wind. And with this thought came fear. Fearful. What does it mean, I'm the wind? Thought tries to figure this out and it doesn't make any sense. It sounds insane. So let's go into this on this last day of talk. Tomorrow we'll have lots of readings. What does this mean? One reads it everywhere in spiritual books. You are the wind, you are the trees, and the cloud and sky is the sun and moon, the day and night. What does it mean? Beyond the words which may either be very inspiring or scary. They are scary when there's a deep, unseen attachment to what I think I am. This body-mind with all its we went through it, all its possessions, all its identities. Then it's scary because I'm about to lose something. That goes with attachment. When there's attachment, there's inevitably the fear of losing. Inevitably. So, what does it mean beyond the words, I am the wind, I am the tree? And sometimes it's actually put in those words in meditation or meditative looking. You become the tree, you become the wind. That's a dangerous way of putting it. Very scary in certain states of mind. One may be unready to leave this identity and step into the identity of a tree, of the wind. So, no one in beholding a tree becomes that tree. Even though as one watches it, there may be this kind of a movement quite naturally. Not as a tree, just this. I don't know how to describe it, but it comes quite naturally. Or you watch a beautiful bird and you go like that. So what does it mean being the wind, or the tree, the sun and clouds? I don't think anyone should say this with conviction unless it comes out of realization. Or else it's confusing to oneself and others. Being the wind means, in all simplicity, no self-reference there. No thought or identity with oneself. That is quiet, is absent. It's not in the way. It's not in the picture. Even though these arms may be flailing, that's what's happening. So then the wind and the arms flailing and the sound of leaves rustling, this is all here. This is all, if you will, oneself. Oneself meaning not the ego, me-self, but the whole. In Zen you say the big self and the little self. These are words. All one whole indivisibility. And the heart pounding, the breath flowing is just that. Just like the wind and the leaves. Nothing belongs to anybody. It's all one whole happening. Full of life. Full of energy, and full of awareness, and full of emptiness. What does that mean? Full of emptiness. It's so dangerous to describe it or explain it, because then it becomes verbiage to be picked up, and either one scares oneself with it, or tries to impress others with it. All kinds of modifications. So it's very difficult. Say, what does it mean? Presence full of wind and trees and breathing and people coughing and emptiness. Are we together? Empty of clinging, empty of solidifying, empty of meanness. When that is quiet, then it is really tremendously empty space. Because this me takes up most of the space, most of the time, doesn't it? We experience it. That's why we come here, to get some space, people say. I need desperately to have some space. Often in the beginning one feels from the family or from work. But it's from oneself we need the space. And this space arises when self is illuminated or irradiated with awareness. Intelligent, loving awareness. And then there's empty space for everything to be as it is. And as the self-circuit arises again, which it does, it's so deeply programmed not to expect ever that this is going to be gone forever, although some people claim for them it has gone forever. That can be very confusing to some people, because then one compares. I should see that person because they have something I don't have. Maybe I can learn from them. So, to watch here, everything is here. The whole universe is here. And as ego stuff arises, defensiveness, hurt, aggressiveness, anger, or desiring, wanting, watch it, illuminate it, lighten it up so it grows empty of power. It may not happen at the first thought, at the first action or reaction, but is one's life dedicated? Are we dedicated to finding out about ourselves, and in the finding out, emptying what is so heavy, so burdensome, so painful? To lighten it up with awareness. Awareness takes care of it. We don't have to do anything. Just be here. And watch. Listen, look. Hopefully not getting deceived by thoughts about ourselves, which never tell the truth. They cannot capture it. Thought cannot capture what we are. It eludes it. That's why it throws monkey wrenches into the work. Which can be seen and maybe at times smiled at, not immediately get depressed over it. So where are we? Right this moment. Does this evoke thinking about ourselves or listening without knowing? One palpitating, alive wholeness without borders. Thought sets the borders. No thought, no borders. Where would they come from? We will end here for today.